Growing up without our parents was a rough experience, but the worst happened when my brother got into drugs.
He spent all our savings to purchase drugs.
Isolated himself from his family members, and spent most of his time with his friends.
Wow, I did high as a day like this.
He got into many drugs from pills to weed, syrup, and he injected himself. He became very violent and got into trouble. He spent days outside without coming home. The drugs began to eat him gradually. It was painful seeing him lose his mind, but it was more painful when we lost him forever.
Stay safe. Don't do drugs. This is NarcoTales. Good day and welcome to NarcoTales. I am Netta, your host and guide on this journey into the heart of substance dependence and recovery. Get ready for raw, real, and inspiring stories of transformation.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It a kill love, it a kill dreams. It a land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Ibrahim's dependence on substance spiraled out of control, leading to a desperate struggle. Today on Narco Tales, he shares the darkest moments of his substance dependence and the consequences that followed. Welcome back to Narco Tales.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's talk about the struggles you faced and then the bad experiences that you had.
Okay. Your greatest struggle as a substance user, first of all, is being a slave to these narcotics, because at a point I got so addicted and so dependent on it that every day and everything I do was focused towards trying to score more drugs. For example, I wake up in the morning and all I can think of is how I'm going to get my next fix. Every income, every savings, sometimes you even have to pawn or sell your personal belongings to afford that lifestyle. Then some darkest moments I can talk about is being or going to dangerous places, especially trying to score drugs. There are certain places that on a normal day or on a normal person would not go to, or an extent or someone would go to. And sometimes you get to hang out in hotel rooms with strangers that you don't know from anywhere.
Why?
Because sometimes they provide the drugs.
Okay.
Maybe they provide an avenue for the drugs. Someone will just call you up, I'm in a certain hotel room. When you come, you see like 20 different people that you don't know. People coming in, going out. I have been robbed so many times in hotels or in ghettos trying to score. I have been stabbed twice. And besides that, the psychological part is, while you are dependent on drugs, there's something, depression creeps in without you even knowing, which I got to learn that it's called active depression. So I was depressed, but I didn't know it because my brain was focused on the substance. So it took a while and the depression built up, and one of the worst parts was that I got so depressed that I had to come out to my family that, okay, look, I have a serious problem with narcotics. And my mom was in the US then and she didn't know what to do. So she made some calls and someone recommended somewhere that, okay, let me go and get help there. So that was my first attempt at, okay, let me get some rehabilitation. So that attempt might have been the biggest mistake, although it has brought me to where I am today. So they took me to this place in Kaduna. I don't know if you people can remember when they were closing down illegal rehabilitation centers where they chain people. So I got to Kaduna, and before I knew it, I was bundled up, I was handcuffed, I was taken to this very strange dark dungeon. So they put chains on my legs, and I'm not talking about using padlocks. They welded chains to my legs in that place. So there were burns from there. So there was physical abuse I saw, but personally I saw sexual abuse there. Like the living conditions were terrible because you sleep on the bare floor. So that happened for up to 3 months. My mom wasn't in the country, and she kept calling that she wants to speak to her son, and they'll tell her that no, her son, the place he is, he can't be reached.
Yeah.
So at that point, one morning, I just woke up, and thanks to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, we just woke up and he just barged through that place with soldiers, and that was liberation for me. So, but it was mixed feelings for me because there was already built up anger and resentment plus depression. Leaving that place, like, why would someone lock someone up here? Like, why would I be brought to this place? So there was that, and also there was the part that I wanted to change. I would not want to come back to this place. I would want to be this person again in my life. So that was how I got out of that place, and the struggle continued from there with addiction.
Okay, who was the person that recommended the rehabilitation center?
It was an uncle that recommended the rehabilitation. He said it's an Islamic rehabilitation center, which he said they mix with religious and they give me medicine, but all they do there was torture.
Did you have visitors?
No. Nobody was allowed to visit, no phone calls, nothing.
It's terrible.
Yes, you leave your clothes at the door, they give you a uniform, they just chain you up immediately, and you are basically a slave because there was labor every day. They put me into the carpentry department with chains on your legs. You make chairs, tables, which the owner of the institution sells without giving anybody the proceeds. He takes the proceeds to himself. So that was what happened to me. I think that was the first time I was on TV then, because right after we were liberated, I gave an interview, I think to Channels or something, about my experience there. And even the governor himself was shocked. He was like, how did you end up in this place? Because funny enough, there were people that spent 15 years in that same place, in that same condition.
Imagine how they survived.
It was crazy. Like, there's someone that told me he hasn't eaten bread for 5 years. That was how terrible that place was. So it was a milestone in my addiction. Like, it shaped a lot about who I am today. And from there on, I kept struggling with depression and treating depression and trauma. Because up till today, I treat PTSD. I don't sleep well. I'm still on medication for trauma. So that's how things have been going for me. Yeah.
That was really touching. But before we go on, let's go on a short break. And when we come back, we get to hear more of Ibrahim's devastating story.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Welcome back to NarcoTales. Ibrahim was just telling us the heart-wrenching struggles he faced as a result of his substance dependence. Please go on.
Yeah, so after that really terrible experience, I got back home and I had that feeling of worthlessness since I've been through the worst. I just decided that I would continue on the path that took me there, which at the end of the day, my drug use spiraled out of control. I consumed more. I did more damages to myself, to my relationship with my family, And other people, I lost a lot of friends because of drug use. Because one thing about it, it makes you call people at all times of the day or night to borrow money, to ask for money. You use up every resource you have, every opportunity you have. So at the end of the day, you become a nuisance to the society and to yourself. So that, coupled with depression, got me to a point, a very, very dark point in my life, that at a point I attempted suicide. Obviously, I failed because I'm here talking to you. But that was a suicide attempt was due to built up depression over a very, very long time. Because I believe it really started when I was still in the university in Malaysia. And it kept building and building. And one thing about the drug use, the darkest part about it is not being able to share your experiences or your pains.
That's right.
So all my pains were bottled up till a point that one day I just decided, like, okay, how will I get out of this world? Like, since there's a lot of guilt and shame, nobody wants to associate with me, my parents and my family members don't even pick up my calls when I call them and all that. So I decided to take the easy way out, which I failed at as well. And I was angry about that failure at that point. I was angry that I failed, but that was a way out for me. And after that, I think that was when I thought about changing my whole life and doing something different with myself. And that was when I had to leave Abuja.
No.
Yeah, because one thing about it is, like, you have to leave your comfort zone.
True.
And this was my comfort zone. I know, especially Gwarimpa, I know every nook and cranny of Gwarimpa because I spent about 20 years here. Most of my life I've stayed in Gwarimpa, so I know everywhere. So I had to leave Abuja totally to Maiduguri. So that was the beginning beginning of my rehabilitation and the end of my substance use.
So how long has it been since you stopped?
It's been 3 years now. I got into rehabilitation in Maiduguri and it was successful for some months after, and I had a relapse. So one thing about this drug thing, it's a continuous process.
Yes.
Yes, you get relapses, you get slips, but the main thing is getting back on track.
I'm happy you did.
Yes, thank you.
That was a very inspiring story. I have one question for you. Well, in all this, what was the scariest moment for you? The most scariest moments for you?
The most scariest moments, I won't say it was the suicide attempt because I failed at that. If it was successful, maybe I'll be telling God that was scary.
Yeah.
But the most scariest moment was waking up and feeling worthless. That feeling of worthlessness, that's the scariest moment. When you wake up, you look at yourself in the mirror and you cannot recognize who you are. You wake up in the morning and you look around you and you know how you used to live before.
Yeah.
And you look at your present condition. That was the scariest experience for me. Not knowing who I am anymore. Losing track of my own self.
At the end of the day, you found yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, Ibrahim, for sharing the painful consequences of your substance dependence with us today. We're honored to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Join us next time on NarcoTales as Ibrahim continues his story into redemption and recovery. The journey ahead is not easy, but it's one of transformation and hope. My name is Netta. See you next time.
Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Don't try it though. He go choke you up. He go steal your sunshine, He go shock you up. He don't kill him any youth for my area. Even for your area. When you start it to stop, it not go easy. As you dey drag am go, he dey drag you down. Water come out from my eyes, when I remember all the guys, where many of them kiki bucket, some cut to socket, make we don't forget, no they talk it, say, don't do drugs. Rock up you see body, don't do drugs. Don't go wound your busy body. Don't do drugs. body. Say, drug abuse, he body, oh. He body, oh. He body, oh.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.